Hey, everybody. Live from the Frenemies podcast, I am DJ Cox, joined as always by David Swor. And David, it's been a fun week of baseball, as it always is. We got a lot of subjects here to talk about, some debuts, some spider tack, some standings, Yankees, Cubs, your terrible fantasy team in the Chicago League.
So bad. So bad. Hey, I'm
And
wheeling and dealing though, DJ. I'm gonna make it hard on somebody here real quick.
we're gonna get into it all tonight, and so I'm looking forward to it, man. It's always a blast to get together at least once a week in our crazy lives that we got going on, and sit down and talk baseball for an hour and catch up on with each other and get some news to our fans out there for some baseball. And David, this week the Yankees, I don't think they could have had a worse week than the previous week, but you tell me how this week went for the Yankees and how they're starting to come along here in the standings.
DJ, as I mentioned the last podcast, the Yankees are so streaky, and it looked like they were buried last week, and they had the Blue Jays and the A's coming up, so it wasn't looking good. And man, the Yankees put it on the Blue Jays this week. DJ swept them, took 2 or 3 from the A's, a very good A's team. So it was a really good week, man. Starting on Tuesday, Yankees won 6-5, and all this streak has coincided with DJ. Guess what? Gary Sanchez is back, man. He's back. He's back mashing. He was 2 for 5 that game with a home run and a double. He supplied a lot of the offense. And the other thing that's been consistent about this streak is the bullpen's been awesome. So Jordan Montgomery started this game, so start, but they got 3 2/3 innings out of the bullpen, shutout innings. Jonathan Weizica had an awesome year so far. He's 6-2 now out of the bullpen. Wednesday, Garrett Cole, guess what, DJ? Spider tack. He doesn't need it. 8 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2.31 ERA. He just put the Yankees had a devastated bullpen. He just put the Yankees on his back and did what an ace making $30 million a year should do. And, the Blue Jays are a great hitting team, and they didn't have an answer for him. So they won 3-2. DJ, guess who supplied all the offense?
Gary Sanchez.
Yeah, he comes in the 7th, pinch hit 2-run bomb. It was huge, put him up. And like I said, Cole went the rest of the way. The 17th, Thursday, 8-4 win over the Blue Jays. Urshela, and we had a Giancarlo Stanton sighting. Hit his 13th home run, but once again, the bullpen was phenomenal. 4 2/3 innings, only gave up the 1 run. On the 18th, Friday, they went to they're playing Oakland now, and they got to see an old friend, James Caprillion, I believe is how you say his name. The Yankees traded him for Sonny Gray. He's battled injuries. He was a huge prospect back at the time. He's been a stud this year. Picked him up on my Chicago team there, DJ.
Nice.
But he had a good start. He's now 4-1 with a 2.84 ERA. DJ LeMahieu hit a home run. That's his 5th. It's DJ. This LeMahieu thing's a problem. It's a problem. He's improved some, but still hitting like 265 last I looked. It's become an issue. Moving on the 19th, Saturday, 7-5 win. Another home run by Gary Sanchez, which is his 11th. Urshela, who has been awesome, hit a home run. That's his 8th. Domingo Germán had a terrible start. He got chased out. But, DJ, have you ever heard of Nestor Cortez? Nasty Nestor Cortez. So he's bounced around with the Yankees. He's been with the Yankees 2 or 3 times. He saved the day. 3 shutout innings in relief. They brought it in, turned it over to Chapman. He made it hairy there at the end, but he got another save. So 7-5 win. That brings us to Sunday, DJ. We got to talk about this. Crazy game. 2-1 win by the Yankees. Jordan Montgomery gave him 5 1/3 good innings. Guess who had 2 RBIs? He was 2 for 3, Gary Sanchez. So he supplied all the offense. And so then they handed over the bullpen. The bullpen gets it into the 9th inning. Enter Aroldis Chapman. So Chapman the night before Fastball velocity was down. He was down 97, 98, down that far. And so it was looking hairy. First and second, no outs. A shot's hit the third. Urshela makes a killer play, steps on third, throws it to second, throws it to first for the Yankees' third triple play of the year, DJ, to win the game.
Wow.
Crazy game. But again, great week from the Yankees. This is exactly the week that they needed. We got to keep it going. What coincided with this, and we'll talk about this more later, but the Rays went on a big losing streak. Yeah. So the Yankees are now within 4.5 games of first place. Boston's in first place now. The Rays are in second, and that triggered something that we'll talk about here later. A good move by the Rays, but hey, awesome week by the Yankees. I hope they can get it forward. I got my get it going. I've got my doubts. You know, the Yankees right now have scored the same amount of runs as they've given up. They're basically like a 500 team, DJ. It's just a weird dynamic how they go on these streaks and win. But I guess Boone has saved his job. Cashman's made it known he's not firing any coaches midseason, which I think is weird. They're going to go with what they got. He says they're going to be buyers at the deadline. So we'll see. So, DJ, right before we got on here, I looked at the Cubs this past week. And they really had a chance to move it out there, but it didn't happen. So let's hear about it.
Well, we're still in first place, David, and I guess that's all.
Tied for first place. Same as last week.
You know, the only bad thing about this week, I guess, from the perspective of the standings, is the Reds and the Cardinals kind of crept up a little bit when the Brewers and the Cubs were struggling this week. This was not a good week. Last week, I was sitting here on my high horse. The week before, I was on my high horse. The Mets kind of put it to us a little bit. The Tuesday game was a 3-2 Mets win. The Cubs just struggled mightily in that game. Wilson Contreras had 2 hits for the Cubs. Alec Mills pitched 4 1/3 with giving up 3 earned runs. Not a good start from him. I talked about it in our last podcast how much he was struggling. And then the bullpen, David ended up going another 3 2/3 innings in that game with no runs allowed. I'm telling you, man. Brothers Thompson and Winkler in that game. They are dynamic. It's unbelievable to see those guys with the promise that the bullpen has. Our offense is doing okay. The starting pitching is doing okay, but that bullpen is outstanding and has carried us a lot, to be honest with you, with a bunch of the wins that we've had. So the next night, the Mets come in again and win 6-3. Another tough loss for the Cubs there. We had 2 hits from Ortega in that game, 2 ribbies from Wisdom, who was just named Player of the Week a couple weeks back. Rizzo hit a bomb. And we had another bullpen game with Stock coming in for 4 innings in that game. He pitched 5 earned runs, and that was a bad one. Robert Stock is from Boston. We got him in the offseason, and he did not pitch well. And the Mets, David, you know, and we can talk about the Mets a little bit later if you want to, but I got my first chance to really sit down and watch the Mets play. And, you know, before the season started, we can remember that I definitely was not a big fan of the Mets. I'm still not too sure what to think of this team. I know they've had a ton of injuries and have still found a way to battle through. But they definitely are a good ball club for sure. And then the Mets, the next night, we finally get a 2-0 win against them. That was a great game. Savage the series, because if we got swept, that would have been big problems for the Cubs. They scored all their runs in the first inning. Got 2 in the first. That was all that they needed. Javi Baez hit a 2-run bomb to give them basically the win. And then it held for Kyle Hendricks, who pitched 6 strong. Tyler Chafin got the hold. Ryan Tepera and Craig Kimbrell with the save. That combination is deadly. When you get those guys on the mound and you can use that bullpen combination to finish out the game. Like tonight, they're playing the Indians, and they got Hendricks on the mound, and he's shutting them out again. So Kyle Hendricks has been awesome, like he has always been awesome in his whole entire career. Nothing new there. So ended up losing 3 out of 4 to the Mets. Then we get another NL East foe in the Marlins, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to spend very much time on these. These first 2 games were absolutely awful, David. I didn't even have a chance to sit down and watch the game on Friday or Saturday. 10-2 shellacking and 11-1 shellacking by the Marlins. Not good. They were never in those games. Didn't even bother looking at anything to do with that. What a terrible series to lose 2 out of 3 to the Marlins. And once again, David, the Marlins have our number as we saw in the postseason last year. Not sure what it is. It's been the Pirates and the Marlins who are kind of giving us problems. Teams that never should give us problems. The Marlins are 31-40. We should not lose that series. We did lose that series. Thank God for Mills, who I just dogged on a little bit. He actually pitched well for the first time all year in this game because we've had some injuries. He got a spot start here. 5 solid, no earned runs. And then Ryan Tepera yet again, 2 innings, no earned runs. Chafin again with the hair and the mustache that you like, got an inning there. And then Kimbrel with yet another save, man. So that is just awesome. The bullpen combination there of Winkler, Chafin, and Kimbrel has been game over when it gets to that point all year long. One of the best ERAs, if not the best ERA as a team bullpen in the league. And then last night was a big dud to the Cleveland Indians, who are in town for a 2-game series, which is really weird. We got a 2-game set with the Indians, trying to do a combination of, lose a game to the Indians and then beat them so that they can catch the White Sox. That's kind of our plan because we don't need to win every game. We need to get the White Sox out of first place. So that was strategy, I like the fact that we can help out the Indians to overtake the White Sox. In that game, a 4-0 win by the Indians. Cubs offense went to sleep, obviously. And Adbert Alzolay, 4 2/3, 3 earned. Not a good start from him. Made 4 more guys used out of the bullpen. So not a good week for the Cubs. Let's be honest with you. A lot of losses there. Didn't really go too well for them. Tonight they're up 5-0 in the 6th. Chris Bryant had a bomb to put them on the board. So it's looking good for this game, and Hendricks pitched really well. So a couple things I wanted to add notes-wise, David. Eric Sogard's been getting a lot of playing time. I don't know if you've seen him play a lot through his career. I don't know, man. I'm just not a fan of his. I've been watching him play a lot more. He's the only person I think that can wear his socks that high and look terrible doing it. So I don't know what it is about him. I'm just not a fan. He's gotten a lot of playing time with Horner and Bodie out right now. Just getting a lot of time at second. When we got him, I thought it was a good guy to come off the bench. But when I see him starting, I don't like it at all. So hopefully he can get back to his bench role really soon because he might be okay off the bench, but wasn't really a fan of that as well. So, the Cubs they're still in first, and, the division has tightened up a little bit here. So it wasn't really a great week for the Cubs, seeing the Cardinals and the Reds climb back up a little bit, and we can just automatically punt the Pirates right now. They might not even be winning AAA season right now. They'd probably be in second place in a AAA division. They're that bad. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a rough week, and hopefully they can get back on track starting with tonight, and then next week when we're talking about this, talking about a 6-0 week. We're getting really close to going on to a road trip here for 10 games, where we will take off and play the Dodgers for 4 and the Brewers for 3. Yeah, and then the Reds for another 3. So 10 games on the road. Going to be a tough stretch. And you know what, David? The next Cubs home game, guess who's going to be there? This guy. Yeah, buddy. July 5th, they will come back home against the Phillies, and I will be sitting in my spot dead center watching my first game in 2 years. I'm overly excited about it. It's about time, and I am thrilled to be back at Wrigley to watch them play.
Nice. DJ, what garb are you going to have on out there? What jersey?
Well, I'm not too sure yet. I might go with the Bryant. We'll see. I got the Rizzo too, so not too sure which one I'm going to go with. Probably Bryant.
No Sandberg or Ernie Banks or anything?
No, not going to go with those. Going to go with the current guys. Try to get them, big win there. I'm thoroughly excited about it. It's been a long time, man, and what they do at Wrigley is the bleachers kind of open up and you just go sit where you want to. It's kind of cool, actually. So we'll run right down to our spot, put our stuff down there, and then go do what we got to do. But me and Nicole are going to go to that one. We're excited to get out for a little while. We got 4 kids, so anytime that you can get out on a night on the town without your kids. As you
No
know,
doubt.
having 4 kids yourself, it's a great night. So we're gonna take advantage of it, and it'll be a lot of fun, man. So David, I did have a
Absolutely.
couple questions about the Yankees, though. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the last time they had a triple play, or maybe the first triple play, Chapman was also on the mound. Is that correct? I think he was on the mound for 2 of those 3 triple plays.
I believe you're right, but I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you.
And so it's very interesting to me too that you were talking about how they said they're not going to make any moves this year with the coaching staff, and they're going to be buyers at the deadline. And we got the deadline coming up here in about 4 or 5 weeks here, David. I know it's both of our favorite time of the year. You know, we got the draft coming up, we got the deadline coming up, so teams are going to get a lot of help here coming up very soon. So what do the Yankees need? This is kind of what I wanted to ask you, and we can get back to what the Cubs need a little bit here too. We can talk about this perspective for a moment here. So, if you were the GM, if you're Cashman, what are you going after personally at the deadline?
They need a left field bat right now. I mean, a bat, not just like, some middling player. They need a good bat. And I don't know who that would be right now, to be honest with you. I mean, I was looking at the standings, and there's starting to be some separation in some of these teams. You're starting to see the top tier teams and the lower tier teams. Joey Gallo's been mentioned. I'm out on that. I think he just repeats the same player that they already have. Like I said, I don't know who they could get. I really don't, but they need a good bat. Miguel Andujar has taken over that left field spot from Frazier, and he's doing pretty well. But they need a big bat. The other thing they need all of a sudden is they need a starting pitcher. So we've been thinking this whole year that Luis Severino was going to be making a comeback. He had a groin injury in his last start, which now they're talking like September before they get him back. Yeah, so they need another pitcher pretty bad. Kluber looks like he's still out. Taillon's still ineffective. He did have one decent start this past week, but he's been pretty ineffective all year. So if I'm the GM, I'm finding a good outfield bat somewhere. And if they could just get a starting pitcher, number 3, number 4, 5 starter even, somebody that could give them 5 or 6 good innings, I'd be happy. How about you?
Yeah, man. So I think we talked about this a little bit last podcast. I'm going to continue to repeat myself on this, but man, I'd do what it takes to get Scherzer on this team. I really would. The Nats are, I really believe he's going to be available for the right price. I don't think that price is going to be extremely high. If the Nationals start to fall off here by the end of the deadline, which is very possible, he's going to become available. And man, what a shot in the arm that would be to have a guy like that come out there. And he is an absolute bulldog. We were talking about this a little earlier off the air here. A la David Swor on the mound, just a bulldog, man. I'm telling you, I'm serious, man. I played with you. That's a true statement. So, but man, he's legit. He's got one blue eye and one brown eye, so that makes him look crazy. First of all, when he's staring at you like that, and then he's coming at you with the high heat and the nasty pitches that he's got thrown over there, man. And so I want Scherzer on this team really bad. I know it's kind of weird saying I need a starting pitcher when we just traded you Darvish, who was one of the top pitchers in the game, just to bring back another pitcher. It's kind of weird to me. I get it. It's really weird to say that we need that. We just had that guy and we got rid of him. So it's weird, man. And like I talked about last week, this team needs to be buyers. And then if we can't sign these guys, you just got to walk and you got to use that money you were going to sign to go get other free agents. You're not going to be able to trade these guys and get anything for them. So be it. You got to go a different route because you've been put in that position with the way they're playing. That's just what's going to have to happen here. I'm almost positive that's what's going to happen. There's no way they're trading any big dogs by the end of the month. Even if they fall out a little bit, they're still going to be close enough by the end of July to where they can make a run. So makes no sense. I would really like to see them get a starter. That bullpen is intact. I wouldn't mess with it at all. It's unbelievable. And anytime you can add a bat, I guess you always use one guy maybe, but I really believe the starting pitching needs a little bit of help and a shot in the arm. That would be what they're going for.
What about the situation of their second base? So you're hating on Sogard.
Yeah, I don't think Bodie and Horner are going to be out too long, so they'll come back soon enough, and they'll be okay. They got Baez, and up the middle, they're doing okay. Rizzo, the infield's solid. I don't have too much problem with that. They've been playing Chris Bryant pretty much in the outfield now, with Wisdom playing as good as he has. Bodie comes back. He can play second. Wisdom's your third baseman now. And then you got Brian out in the outfield. I saw him he was playing center field the other day, and he made a diving catch. And Nicole made the smart aleck comment. I just got a thing for center fielders because she loves Chris Bryant. So I was like, you little punk. But but yeah, man, every woman in this city loves Chris Bryant. So but yeah, man, he's out there playing right, left, center. It's unreal how much he's doing. And he's the number one vote getter at third base, which I don't know the last time he played third. And rightfully so, man. His defense at third is not good. Bodie and Wisdom are better defensively than he is at third. And he's not terrible over there, but he's just not. I've never thought he's a good defender. So throwing him in the outfield is the right thing to do. And benching Hayward when you can, and putting Hap out there, and Jock and Brian is a good move. So yeah, I mean this team's loaded. We got a lot of guys that came off the bench that are doing good. Jake Marisnik's been playing well too, and so I just think they need a couple pitchers, and that's about it. So
I hear you.
So David, we'll take a little transition here now. Let's talk about the spider tack thing that we just started going to yesterday, I believe. Yes, it was started Monday. This whole thing blew up, and now they're starting to enforce the rules on this. We've had a lot of drama surrounding this from the pitcher's perspective mainly. So give me your perspective on a couple things here. Like number one, with how you think it changes the game. Number two, how you think it is when these pitchers are leaving and the umpires are constantly like patting them down, like they're getting patted down by the police officers. It's been crazy, man. It's been definitely weird to see it. So what do you think of it, man?
I just think MLB couldn't have handled this any worse, DJ. I said it last week. I'm going to say it again. If there's a worse way to handle it, I don't know what is. Zach Britton actually had an awesome idea. I guess in Japan or Korea or somewhere, they use a tackier ball. And he was like, look, just use a tackier ball. Then we don't need pine tar. Then we don't need, sticky tack, whatever the case may be. And I totally agree with that. Then it's a level playing field, or should be a level playing field. The second thing I'll say is, we talked about this off air. I think David Ross made a comment about how the mindset of pitchers and how it's just such a bad idea. They're walking off the mound. I can attest to this. We talked about it off air. Man, when you pitch, especially there's a reason these guys come running in from the outfield with Hell's Bells playing. There's a reason for that. There's a reason, most guys when they pitch don't want to be dealt with. I was one of those guys. And when I was pitching, I wanted to walk to the end of the dugout and I wanted left alone, because you're kind of in a zone, you're in a mindset. There's nothing worse than getting publicly frisked, between innings. And we saw it tonight. Max Scherzer, who you can tell is an ultra competitive guy, a bulldog, walking off the mound. He's getting frisked. He throws his glove down, throws his belt off. The umpires are telling him, to chill out or whatever. Then he strikes out the next batter the next inning, stares at Girardi, who obviously had them check him or had something to do with him getting checked. Girardi comes up, pops off, and he gets thrown out of the game. It's just the worst possible way to handle it. You started it in the middle of the season. You're making these pitchers out to be almost like criminals. You have A-Rod talking about it on ESPN on Sunday night, the worst offender of the steroid era. I mean, this is who ESPN is picking to talk about breaking the rules. Freaking A-Rod. Who gives a rip what that guy says? So, I mean, it's like watching Dateline and them interviewing criminals in jail about, what you should do to protect your house. I mean, I can't take it, DJ. I just can't take it. But that's my perspective, man. I just think they should have let this thing lay until the end of the year, corrected it in the offseason, let the players have input. If attacking your ball is what they need to do, go with that. It's a knee-jerk reaction. I think it had everything to do with ratings probably being down and runs being down in the game, strikeouts being up. And I think Rob Manfred needs to get a new job. That's what I think. What do you think, DJ?
Man, this has been crazy to just bring up, and it's unbelievable to me. And I told you last week to go on Amazon, David, and find the spider tack and buy you a little jar of it. I thought it would be like $10, but what has happened, it's hilarious. You go on Amazon and try to buy it now. They've jacked it up to like 50, $60 per little container, man. So I was like, oh,
Well,
David
I
can't
saw
buy
a
that.
guy.
Go
I
ahead.
saw a guy on Twitter taking his hand and sticking it in there, and honestly, I wouldn't want to try to throw a baseball with that. It was all like slimy, and I mean, if you think about like the movie Alien or whatever, when they used to spray that stuff on it, and you're like, that's what that stuff is like, man. Like, I don't even know how you could deal with that. So yeah, I'm not paying $60 for a jar of it. Now, if Leland, was in like All-Star World Series or something, I might buy him some. I don't know, but if this is getting used now the word's out, this is getting used in Little League and stuff now, right?
Yeah,
It has to be.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
man, it's going down the charts. I'm sure the minor leaguers do it. The college guys, they'll find any way, any reason to cheat. You know that already.
Sure.
Those guys are alone and have nothing else to do all day but get stuff like that and mess around. And so those college guys are all over this. It'd be interesting to see what they're doing in the college game with this because we got the finals coming up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm sure these guys are doing that kind of stuff too. A lot of these guys are claiming sunscreen and rosin is the biggest offender, and all these guys do that, and so that's illegal too. And you're putting the sunscreen on your body just to protect yourself from the sun, and they're using it to their advantage with the rosin. It all goes back to a few years back, Yadi Molina had a ball hit him in the chest protector. I don't know if you remember this, and the ball literally stuck to his chest protector. And it was the most funny thing I ever seen. And I right away was like, he's such a cheater. He's an absolute cheater. You can YouTube it. YouTube that the ball hit Yachty in the chest. And there's pine tar all over his chest protector. And what do they do, David? When they call timeout, what is the pitcher doing to Yachty's chest? He's like patting him on the chest. Like, hey, buddy, like, hey, we got this. And he's like getting his stickiness back on his hands. So that's another way they sneak it through the catchers. So I guess now that they're able to check catchers if they want to at any time, position players if they want to at any time. For that reason, if they're putting it in their stuff and letting going on mound visits and letting the pitcher touch them to get it on themselves as well. So there's been ways of doing it. They've been doing it that way for years now too. This is nothing new, but it's crazy. They're cracking down on it now. And I don't have any problem with them trying to get it cleaned up and out of the game and everything, but we got Tyler Glass now who's blaming the league that he blew his arm out because he doesn't have the stuff anymore. And it's like, dude, that's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard, because if you can't throw a baseball without something that is illegal and is obviously illegal, and you're blaming your arm being blown out because you weren't using something that is illegal, I don't feel one bit sorry for you, man. I'm sorry. I really don't. And so that's on him. It's his own fault. That's just stupid of him to say, really, to be honest with you. He's talking about the guys that rub down the balls before the game. He's full of crap. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking completely about them taking the stuff away from him. So
Right.
It's been crazy. Sure, I did not see Scherzer and Girardi go at it yet, but this is stuff that's going to start happening now. This is a game thing now. Like you said, these guys are not happy sometimes when they come off this mound, and then they're being strip shirts after they give up 5 runs.
Let me ask you this, DJ. How would you like to try to strip search Randy Johnson back in the day?
Good point,
No
man.
way.
There is no way.
No way. We can think of other guys who were that way. They were just mean, Goose Gossage. You think about somebody like that, or Roger Clemens when he was roiding.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, these pitchers, you kind of got to get in the zone, man. And some of these guys are hateful. I wouldn't want to deal with it. There'll be more of this. There'll be more of this come up.
This is just the beginning. You're exactly right. This is just the beginning, and we're getting our first. When the suspensions start to happen, somebody's going to get suspended for it. Everybody's always got to have a fall guy on all this, and it'll come out that somebody had something, and then they'll deny it like they always do, and they'll say, "Well, it was this and that, and it really wasn't," and we'll have that kind of fight again. And so this is just the beginning of everything. It's all to with baseball. It's this is the stuff that happens. It's either you're stealing signs, or you're taking steroids, or you're putting stuff on the baseball that's not supposed to be there. It's always been a game of cheating. It's unfortunate. It's not the last thing that's going to happen in the MLB. There's going to be something new that comes up in a couple of years that guys have found ways of around something and are starting to cheat on. So it stinks, man. It really does. but it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds here towards the end of the season. So
Yep.
David, another thing I wanted to talk to you about tonight is number one prospect Wander Franco has made his debut tonight. He did it at 6 o'clock Central Time. And I was able to remember at about 6:12. I was like, oh my gosh, Wander's debuting. So I turned the game on real quick. I got to see him the first pitch. And I forgot, man. I'm watching the Red Sox and the Rays, and it's just such a different perspective. So I want to talk about the Rays a little bit too here. Wander Franco's playing third tonight. These guys are so loaded that they just got so much talent. That's not even his natural position, and they're just so loaded. He can't play short or second right now. He's playing third. But he walks his first at bat. He's hit a 3-run bomb in this game. Unbelievable. This guy, we've talked about him a lot in many of our podcasts. He's a real deal. He's 20 years old. He's here to stay, man. He ain't going anywhere now. So you called him up. This guy is legit. Unbelievable by the Rays. So David, they've had a crazy week too, man. You lose your ace, he's done. I mean, he's going to get a second opinion because he's out next year no matter what. Basically, if he ends up waiting for surgery or if he does it now. But it really does stink. I hate the fact he got hurt. I think it's crazy. He's blaming it on what he's blaming it on. But they started tonight with a reliever and then went to Yarbrough in about the 2 outs in the first inning to him, man. They just have a different way of doing everything. They pitch backwards, which, you know what? Sometimes you kind of feel like that's a good I've thought about this a lot even in high school as you try to get by the first couple innings because these kids nowadays cannot stay under the pitch count with a 7-inning game. Most of them cannot do it. And then in the 7th inning, you're panicking because you don't know who to put in. Well, if you put the kid in the first and second inning relievers, let them get what they can get, kind of so to speak, and try to hold them as much as you can, and then bring your ace in for 5 innings. You know he's gonna be lights out. It's a philosophy that's arguable as to whether it works or not. I get both sides of it. The Rays don't care; they do it. They did it again tonight, so it's crazy, man. So you got Glasnow out. They needed a shot in the arm. They go to Franco. This team's awesome, man. I got to see them play tonight. I love Kiermaier. I just love their team, man. They're just so fun to watch. So different in every aspect they do. Randy Rosarena's going to win the Rookie of the Year again this year. Just really cool team, and I see why that they're giving the Yankees fits in the AL East. What do you think of Franco, David?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great move. The Rays were slumping, to be honest. I think they'd lost 5 straight. They needed to do something. They had to make a move, and I mean, this looks like it's going to be a good one. And like you said, man, the Rays just do everything so differently. Trading Blake Snell, who's not done anything really with the Padres for the guys that they got, and it's just a different philosophy. Just everything's different. I was looking, the DJ by run differential. They're one of the best teams in baseball. 73 plus 73 in run differential. So I mean, they're for real. And as a matter of fact, on run differential, let me look here. They may be the best team in baseball. No, the White Sox, my boys, the White Sox at 88. So what an awesome team, man. I told you before, I admire them. They're a thorn in my side, but you have to admire what they do and how they do it. I mean, guys like G-Man Choi playing big roles. I mean, Yankees actually had him at one point. You just think about what might have been there. I mean, they just know how to make it happen, man. Kevin Cash is a genius. And, as far as the whole reliever thing, I mean, obviously it works, but talking about your situation in high school, I don't know that it's the same thing. You would be talking about bringing one of your best relievers in and starting him. Otherwise, because I guess the philosophy there is get through the meat of the order and then turn it over to your pitcher. So I don't know. It's an interesting philosophy. I've never really known what to think about it, but hey, it's working for the Rays. It's hard to argue with it.
Francisco Mejia, man, I'm liking him more and more that I see him, playing over Mike Zunino. I mean, this guy's legit too. That was a great trade. Ended up being a really good trade. Yeah. He hit a ball that probably still hasn't landed the other day for a game winner, and this guy's legit too. And so all these young guys they got coming up, I'm really high on these guys. They just had Taylor Walls as well, just came up, and he's another young guy that they've got. He's a 5'10", 185 guy. He plays shortstop for them. He's a rookie. He's only 24 years old. And we were talking about the other day, the guy that they brought up, it wasn't even Franco at first. It was Walls, and he hit a bomb and has 7 ribbies, so far in 26 games. So he's playing all right, getting on base a lot. So the well is not dry. They keep finding different guys to come up and play on this team. It's unbelievable, man. Joey Wendell's the guy that didn't play tonight. They're benching Joey Wendell, who's hitting like 300, so they can bring up the best prospect in the game. So it's crazy the amount of talent they have. Brandon Lau is obviously a stud too. He's struggling a little bit with the batting average right now, but he's driven in 32 runs, so he's at least knocking runs in. Austin Meadows, David, has 50 RBI this year. What a stud he's been with an RBI machine. They've got about 5 or 6 different guys at the 30 mark and over. So, wow, it's very much going to be coming down to their pitching. I think is what you could probably look at as the low part of this team right now, getting rid of all their starting pitchers and with their ace going down. So, going to be very interesting to see how they hold up. But man, this team is so good.
Yeah.
So, David, before we get into the standings, I need just a quick statement from you. You might be like 70 games out of first place in your fantasy team in the Chicago League. So give us a little rundown of why, David. Like, you're not even close.
I've always prided myself on being like a pretty decent fantasy manager. Won the Chicago League multiple times. DJ, everything went wrong this year. Trout got hurt.
Yeah.
The dude for the Braves, I can't think of his name right now. It's just slipping me. Ozuna, obviously he got suspended. He's out. DJ LeMahieu, I don't even know who that guy is right now. I mean, just like everything that could have went wrong for me went wrong. So many of the guys that I picked up have immediately gotten injured, like literally within 2 or 3 games. And so I just decided the other day, screw it. I'm just wiping the slate clean. There's no chance I'm probably going to the playoffs, but I'm going to be a pain in somebody's hind end the rest of the year. And so I looked up my stats from last week. I beat every other team. This is how my season's gone. I beat every other team in the league except for the one that I played, which was Kearns. It's just how it's been for me, man. I can't explain it. It's been rough. I went into the year thinking, dude, my pitching is just killer. And really it was. But every week I find a way to lose. So last week I would have won all the pitching categories, but I left a starter out who went 8 shutout innings and got a win. I would have won.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man. It's been a comedy of errors. I mean, it's been crazy, but hey, I've started all over. I picked up probably the first 3 trades in the Chicago League in years.
Yeah.
Nobody trades in that league. It's so hard to trade in that league. I got Correa. I got J.D. Martinez off of you and Teoscar Hernandez off of Kearns. I'll be getting Trout back in a few weeks. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be. If LeMahieu would happen to start hitting it all, you guys are in trouble. And I picked up Gary Sanchez this week.
Who I dropped and got the backup for, by the way, and that didn't work out very well for me either. So,
well, hey, come to Big Hearted Dave's. I'll trade with you.
Yeah. I got Lindsay sitting here next to me, and I've been trying to get Chris Taylor off of her for the entire season, but she won't part with that guy too, Chris Taylor. That's like my favorite player in the entire league. He's an all-star. He's unbelievable, man. And so let's transition right there, David, to the standings, man. And so we will start right away with the NL West, David. And who's in first place in the NL West, David? Let's hear it again.
How is this possible, DJ? I don't even know what to say about this.
Every week, man. Every week.
So apparently it's legit, right? I mean, at this point, you have to say it's legit. I don't understand it. I did watch the Giants play this week. They're fun to watch, which is kind of shocking when you look at their roster. But old Brandon Crawford, that game had a big double. He's just killing the ball. You know, all these guys are just kind of playing their role, which is cool. I've always liked teams like this where guys just play their roles, and there's really not any superstars. I mean, Buster Posey's having a nice year by catcher standards, but he's not having a superstar year. But you got guys like Brandon Crawford that are doing well. I mean, several of their stars aren't really playing that great. Mike Yastrzemski's not been very good up to this point, and somehow they keep doing it. And the poor old Dodgers and San Diego, they just can't do anything to get past them. I mean, it's amazing.
I mean, you look at the Padres, who are in third place in the NL West with a 43-32 record. They would be winning the East and the Central, David. So you got the three teams in the West that would all be winning every other National League division, and they would, even the Padres with the 43 wins would be tied with the White Sox and tied with the Red Sox on top of the AL East and the AL Central. They would be barely behind the Astros and the A's in the AL West. So the West teams are unbelievable, man. Three teams that would be leading every other division basically in all of baseball. It's unreal. I would have never thought the Giants would have hung this long with them. We're about at the 72-point mark for everybody. We're getting deeper into the season now. We're getting close to the halfway point for every team. In another week and a half, everybody will be there, and they're almost halfway there, and they're still 2 games up on the Dodgers, man. And so the Dodgers and the Padres are playing each other right now, so they're beating each other up. So they're not gonna gain much ground because they're gonna split this series, I think. And the Padres took the first one last night. So man, these teams are just legit, really good. And the Padres are up 2-0 in that game tonight. So it's going back and forth with these three teams, and so it's very interesting. Colorado is way out of it, and Arizona, David. Let's talk about them for a second, man. I cannot believe how bad the Diamondbacks are. What in the world? And on paper, man, they're not that bad, but
I heard a great explanation that made a lot of sense this morning on MLB Network. I think it was Steve Phillips. Everybody was crapping on Arizona. DJ, did you realize 4/5 of their rotation is injured? 4/5 of it. That's just a recipe for bad. I mean, they weren't a great team anyway. On paper, like you said, you could see where they could be kind of scary. But if the Yankees lost 4 of their top 5 starters, or the Dodgers, or maybe not the Dodgers, but most of these teams, the Cubs, could the Cubs handle losing 4 of their 5 starters?
No, they got 2 of their 5 out, and they're struggling bad enough with that.
Yeah, so I feel sorry for Arizona. I'm really surprised Torey Lovullo has made it this far. It'd have been tempting just to say, hey, we just need a different face on it. But hey, they're going to stick it out. I heard him say that, and I hope they turn it around, man. That was horrible. How many games in a row? Road games in a row? Was it 20, 25 or something?
Yes, it was awful. That many in a row that they've dropped. In their last 10, they're 1-9. They're 21-53, the worst mark in the MLB. I would have never put the D-backs in last. I'd have below like the Pirates and the Orioles. But they're there, and like you said, man, Zach Gallen obviously is an absolute stud. They've been out all year long, basically. And the Diamondbacks just aren't a deep enough team to overcome that. And you're so right about that. That is the reason why 4 of your 5 starters been out for so long. They can't overcome it. They were going to be a fourth place team in this division at best. So when your 4/5 of your rotation's out, you see why they snuck even below the Rockies, who are terrible. So it's been rough, man. It's almost like laughable how bad they are. You just feel bad for them. I don't hate the Diamondbacks by any means. I wish them good. But I'll tell you this, David, man. You watched like the Dodgers play them the other day, and I kid you not, it looked like the Dodgers were home. How many Dodgers fans were in that field? It's like the Diamondbacks fans aren't there. You literally see the camera shooting into the crowd, and it's all blue. It was unbelievable. There's not a Diamondbacks fan in the entire section they showed, and so I really hope their fans aren't giving up on them. They start coming back. But it's been rough for the Diamondbacks, and I do definitely feel sorry for them. So that's a crazy division. So let's move over to the NL East, David. You got the Mets in first. We talked about them a little bit earlier, beating up on the Cubs this week. 37-30 at the top of the division. 5-5 for the week. You got the Phillies right behind them, 4 back. Atlanta and Washington, 5 back, and Miami's kind of separated themselves at 8.5 back in the division. So what are your thoughts about the NL East that's been happening this week?
Well, first of all, the Mets now have 3/5 of their rotation out. So Stroman went down with an injury tonight.
Stroman went down?
Yeah.
Did
you got
he
to handle
really?
Yeah, you got to hand it to Rojas. They keep winning. Conforto's been out most of the year. McNeil's been out. J.D. Davis has been out. I mean,
DeGrom.
DeGrom. Man, and how awesome is DeGrom?
Oh,
He has to be the MVP at this point. Last I looked, he had more RBIs than earned runs. So that's crazy, man. That is crazy, crazy, crazy. So, yeah, hats off to the Mets, man, to keep winning with all those injuries. That's amazing. The biggest surprise to me, other than the Giants, is the fact that Atlanta is not very good. I do not understand that. Um, Braves fans, as we know, Josh Hill, if you're listening to this episode, I'm talking about you. They're already calling for Snitker's head. I left a comment there for him. You would think 3 straight division championships would buy you something, but apparently it doesn't buy you a bad first half. So it just shocks me. It really shocks me. I thought the Braves, and we both thought the Braves. You had the Braves in the World Series and maybe winning the World Series.
Oh, I'm sticking by that pick, but it doesn't look very good right now. I got them winning it all this year, so I'm sticking by it mainly because I want to jinx them. Because if I picked it, that's not going to happen. So I'm going to stick with it so the Braves cannot make the World Series. But man, Ronald Acuna Jr. David just hit his 100th career home run already, and he's so stinking young. He's already at 100, so milestone for him. What a good week as well for that guy. They're 5-5, the Braves this week, so it wasn't a very good week, just average at best. Washington had a great week, David, 8-2, and it climbed back into it a little bit. And we talked about this a little earlier. You know, these guys don't hang around. Scherzer's going to be on the market soon, and but yeah, the Philadelphia Phillies, 6-4 this week. Their run differential is not good. They're -11. And the Mets are +19 on run differential. So, man, that's a tough division. Like I said, it's going to be close all year long. Nobody's out of that yet. Miami's not even out of it. So, pretty tough week in the NL East this week. So, David, to the NL Central, and I talked a little bit about this when I did the Cubs recap, but the Reds and the Cardinals came back a little bit last week, having good weeks and kind of climbed the standings a little bit. Everybody in this division had a rough week. The Pirates were 2-8. The Cardinals were 4-6. The Reds 5-5, and then the Cubs and the Brewers matched each other at 4-6, and nobody really moved. So Cubs and Milwaukee are in first there. Cubs are about to overtake it for the moment by winning this next game. We'll be up half a game till Milwaukee's game is finalized. So I'm going to take every little bit of first place I can have. And so yeah, David, the Reds are back to 500, and they look like they were a sinking ship there for a while. So, what do you think about the Reds? Let's talk about the Reds for a second here. Back to 500. It's been Winker. You know, he's been amazing. This offense has kind of come out of nowhere. So, what about the Reds, bud?
Well, Matt Kearns, I talked to him today, our Reds expert, and he brought up something I guess I didn't realize, and a lot of people haven't realized, but the Reds have not been healthy all year long.
Yeah.
And so, man, I think the Reds are sneaky. I think they're a sneaky pick to get healthy and maybe make a move or two and sneak in there. On paper, I definitely think they're every bit as good as the Brewers or the Cubs. It's just getting healthy and getting production out of those guys. I haven't looked in a while, but Luis Castillo, Luis Castillo had a rough start to the year. He was not himself. And so if you get him back, you get Sonny Gray back pitching like we know he can pitch. You get Moustakas in the middle of that lineup hitting well again. I'm telling you, man, I'm a believer in the Reds if they're healthy. So I would keep an eye out on them. I actually like the Reds better than the Cardinals, just to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't doubt that for 1 second either. If you wanted to put them above the Cardinals, I totally get it. I really feel like the Reds offense is legit. Really do. That lineup is scary when you face it. Cubs are going to get a little taste of them at the end of this road trip here, and hopefully we can separate them a little bit more and have a series like we did against the Cardinals last weekend. So, David, transitioning now to the American League, and we've talked about this a little bit already, but the American League East, Boston is still on top, a 6-4 week. You got Tampa a half a game back, 4-6 week. You got the Yankees 4.5 back, who climbed over the Blue Jays last week and had a 6-4 week. And then you got the Blue Jays, who replaced the Yankees in fourth place at 36-35, 6.5 back with a 5-5 week. And then you got the Orioles 1-9, 23-49 on the season, 20 games back. Ooh,
Yeah.
right. But David, your Yankees climbed a little bit. Boston and Tampa are right there with each other. We talked a lot about Tampa. Talk a little bit about Boston, David. So what's keeping them afloat right now while they're waiting for Sale to go?
Great question. Obviously, they can hit. Boston can really hit.
Yep.
Their pitching is overperformed. I'm not a believer at all in really any of their rotation guys, but they've done well. Martin Perez has done well. Nathan Eovaldi's done pretty well. Garrett Richards has done well. On paper, like, I got no faith in that crew. And honestly, I don't have much faith in their bullpen. Matt Barnes is streaky, although he's had a great year. So I'm not a believer in the Red Sox. I think they're fool's gold. I think Tampa is probably going to be the team to beat in this division when it's all said and done. I think the Yankees can make it hard on them, but I'm not sure I believe in them either. You know, in the beginning of the year, I only picked one playoff team out of the East, and that was Tampa. So I'm standing by that to this point. I don't believe in the other two teams. There's too many holes. But the trade deadline could change this whole thing. What if you put Scherzer on the Red Sox? That looks a little bit better, and you got Sale coming back.
Yeah.
Then okay, you might have me starting to believe a little bit, but as the way they're currently constructed, I don't believe in them at all. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. That pitching is still the scary part. When I watched them play the Rays tonight, I got a good chance to see Boston play, which is always fun. Man, that lineup is ridiculous, and Devers can hit a baseball. The X-Men produced. Their offense is very good. Verdugo's having a great season. Bobby Dahlback. These guys are just. I mean, they're good. They have a great offense, and JD Martinez is killing it. He's one of the top fantasy players in the game right now. These guys are loaded with talent. David, an interesting fact about the Red Sox is they have the best road record in the game at 23-12. That's phenomenal. When you're winning your road games, they're actually better on the road than they are at home, which is crazy to think. But they have the best record in the road than anybody in the league and in the game, actually. And so what a great week for Boston yet again, and they continue to stay on top in that division somehow. So Vladdy Guerrero Jr. too, David, man, got to give him some love here for a second. Holy cow, David. This guy's almost a lock for MVP right now if you're not talking Ohtani. I mean, those two guys. Woo!
Yeah, he's amazing too. I didn't see that coming. As bad a year Ohtani had last year, I did not see that coming. He's been crazy.
He's like you look at his stat line, and he's 3 for 4 with 2 bombs, 2 for 3 with a home run, and then he's pitched 6 innings with 10 Ks, and then the next day he's 2 home runs. It's like, who does that? Like, who in the game we have ever seen has ever done that? I guess Babe Ruth's the guy. Back in the day he was the man, and that's why he's the greatest player of all time. Is I keep trying to justify if somebody else is better than Babe Ruth. Well, Babe Ruth could pitch too. So that put him above everybody else in my book because he was a great pitcher too. Ohtani's a freak, man. This is unbelievable. He's pulling this off. But I'm telling you, Vladdy Guerrero Jr., wow, he lost all that weight. He's an MVP candidate. Seems like every night he's homering. He's hitting for high average. He's an all-around stud, man, and he's finally living up to the hype. And the Blue Jays are going to be good for years to come if they keep that core going. So, David, to the AL Central. Got your boys in first place still by 2 games over the Indians. Like I said, the Cubs were going to help the Indians get a little closer last night. That's why they lost that game. The White Sox had a somewhat rough week at 5-5. Got their butts handed to them by the Astros, swept mightily by the mighty Astros, who are coming out of nowhere and had Cleveland was 7-3. The Royals dropped back really far at 3-7 this week. Twins were 6-4. And the Tigers were 4-6. And so, David, with the Royals being 10 back and being in third place now with a 32-38 record, it's become a 2-horse race in the Central right now between the White Sox and the Indians. And
the Indians
are good, man.
They got the same problem. They got 3 pitchers out now. Savali went down yesterday. Plesac's out. I can't remember who the third one is that's out, but all of a sudden, they're a little thin up pitching too. So, not a very good hitting team, so I can see the Indians, starting to fall back a little bit. I hope they don't. I like the Indians. I've made that well known. But, their run differential is 7, White Sox 88. So there's just a big gap there. And the White Sox keep doing it, man. They've got a ton of injuries. They've lost, 3 starters, or 3 in the starting lineup, and they just replace them and just keep going. The Fighting La Russas.
I'm going to get this out of my head right now and let the White Sox fans have it a little bit, because that's what I do. So all of a sudden your team's in first place and, oh, the stadium's going to get packed and we're going to be at 100% capacity, and, oh, everybody's going to come watch the game and it's going to be full stadium, like everybody's going to be there. Yeah, where were you last year and for the last 10 years? So it takes your team being good for you to go watch your team. So not a fan
Good
of that
job,
garbage.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it. I'm with you.
I used to be able to buy the upper deck seats for like $3, and then we'd always just go down and sit right next to home plate because nobody was sitting there. You could sneak onto the front little section there and sit wherever you wanted. That probably won't happen as much this year, but we will definitely make our way to the south side coming up here pretty quick as well, to catch a couple games and see what the hype is about, and sit with all these bandwagon fans who are out of the woodworks and coming back now that the White Sox are back in first place. So, David, transitioning to the AL West, and we had a big swing here this week with the mighty Astros, man. Like I said, they swept the White Sox. They were 9-1 this past week. And you talk about run differential. Yeah. They have the best one in the game at 120 run differential, which is off the charts good, man. This team is absolutely loaded. It's both of our American League World Series pick, and it's finally starting to show here with them overtaking the A's, going a game up on the A's, who had a 7-3 week themselves, so nothing to joke at there. The Mariners had a great week at 7-3 as well, have gone over 500, so good on them, man. I like to see that. And the Angels went 6-4 and are 500 again, so that's good to see. And the Rangers can just punt. They were 3-7. They are terrible. And Joey Gallo is going to get traded. I really believe that. He's a Gold Glover from last year, and he can mash. So somebody's going to get something. His batting average is always crappy, but he will produce runs and play good defense. So somebody's going to get him very soon here. The Angels, David, 500, like we talked about. Oh, Tani's a freak. They're going to get Trout back here any day now. So that's going to be a shot in the arm as well. Be interesting to see what they do at the deadline. It really will. They're 8 back, but I still think that this team could fight into it. The Mariners, man, are shocking. I'm really impressed with them. Jared Kelenic did come up for a while there, struggled mightily and got sent back down. So I hate to see that because I thought he was up to stay, but he needs more seasoning and will hopefully be back soon. But we'll see what happens there as well. So, David, what are your thoughts about the AL West, man?
And the Astros are so good. They've got a very good Rookie of the Year candidate. Right there in their pitching staff. Luis Garcia, I believe is his name. Look him up. Averaging better than a strikeout per inning. ERA under 3. Framber Valdez has came back. Been a complete stud. Last I looked, his ERA was about 140. This team is for real, man. There's a reason they were World Series champs besides cheating 2 years ago. They're a good team. And, man, I expect them to be buyers again. I think they need another pitcher to put with Greinke and those 2 guys that I just named. Is McCullers out for the year, DJ? Or is
yes.
He is out for the year.
I believe so.
So,
yeah.
Again, put a guy like Scherzer. I mean, Scherzer, if he would become available, is going to be a hot item. And put him in this rotation. Man, unreal. Ryan Presley's been a stud at the back end. That they can hit. Jordan Alvarez has been awesome. What a great team. And it is going to be interesting to see what the Angels do. I mean, I can't imagine them wanting to buy at this point, but I can't imagine what they would have that they would want to sell. You're not going to sell Ohtani. You're not going to sell Trout. You're not going to sell Jared Walsh. I think they're just kind of going to be at a standstill. It's unfortunate. The Angels have 2 of the best players in the game, 3 of the best if you count Rendon, who's had a terrible season. And here they are, still 500. So I think they need to kick Madden to the curb, DJ.
Yeah. I don't think so, buddy. So
come on.
I'm gonna call my McCullers is scheduled for a rehab start coming up here soon, I believe. So he might be coming back from what I just read. I thought he was out for the year. So here's what I heard though, David. Since he comes back, it looks like they're talking Jake Odorizzi is your number 6 starter. That's pretty good. Like the guy that you said, the rookie coming up and making a name for himself. These guys are loaded. And like you said, though, if they could add another pitcher, and then they were talking about doing that and then transitioning some of these later guys to their bullpen where they need help. So they can take those end of the rotation starter guys from 3 to 6 and move them to the bullpen.
Yeah.
And then get one guy to go with those 2. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and maybe they go 4 deep with that and then push 3 of those guys into the pen. But that's going to help their bullpen mightily. That'll be the way they do that, and then kind of put it in that way. I really think that this team is, wow. Altuve is hitting the ball. These guys are just out of the world right now, playing great baseball. They're an offensive juggernaut. Their pitching is great, so they're going to help their bullpen by pushing those guys in there in the playoffs. This team is for real, man, and I really believe I'm going to stick by the Braves and the Astros. The Braves not looking good at all, but the Astros looking really good to make the World Series in the American League. And I do agree with you. The Angels don't have much to get rid of. It's kind of a, what do they do? They're kind of in a bad spot right now. So, so David, real quick on the Mariners, and we'll end this. We've gone for an hour now. So, what about the Mariners? What's going on with them? How are they all of a sudden so good? It's crazy, man.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah.
Can anybody name a Mariner?
Man.
I mean, honestly, Mitch Haniger and Kyle Seager seem like they've been around forever, but Miguel, I can't think of his name, Gonzalez, he's been awful.
Yeah.
And so that was like their number 1 starter. I have no idea. Their run differential's no good, so it must be good managing or something. I don't know. I think they're negative 47 in runs when I looked a minute ago. So that one doesn't make any sense.
Well, I tell you how it makes sense. Their manager is a former Cub, Scott Service. That's all you need to know. So
there you go.
Great leadership like that. You've learned from the best. You go and you transition it to the Mariners. You can even win in Seattle. That's how it works.
He went and learned how to lose, and then went back and said, "Don't do this."
That's awesome, man. Well, David, unless you got anything to add, buddy, that's we hit the 1 hour mark, so we're about done here. So another great week of baseball. It'll be interesting to see what happens this week with our teams, with the standings. Telling you what, David, you got to tune in on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The College World Series will be coming on. Always a fun time. Make sure you record it, though, so you can fast forward through the commercials, because if not, you're going to sit there for 5 hours, because these college games, man, they take forever. These guys take about 45 seconds between pitches, so make sure you got your popcorn ready, because it's going to take a while. But it should be fun to watch that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and also some good Major League ball coming in here. So it's exciting, man. It's been a great year so far, and it's only going to continue. So like our YouTube channel, Frenemies, subscribe to us. We appreciate it. Thanks for listening tonight, and have a great night.
See you guys.